Dr. Bacha yesterday invoked the spirit of the Gandhiji and also the circle of life from Kenya, from Africa. I want to take you on a journey today. A journey. So let's go. Under the heat of the midday Kenyan sun, I find myself sitting under a beautiful acacia tree, as one would do in the Masai Mara in Kenya. In front of me is sitting an old man of 82. He is still, he is alert, he is listening, he is absolutely observing. He is holding in his hand a fan which is made out of the wildebeest tail. Sitting next to him is Joel, my interpreter. And Joel is one of Oleoga's 36 children from one of his 6 wives. And Joel himself has 15 children and 3 wives. Not bad. The children are all around me. They are jumping like gazelles everywhere. And they are laughing and they are screaming. And their eyes are so bright. And their smiles are so rich. And they're touching me. They touch my shirt. They touch my skin. They look into my eyes. They are happy. They're the happiest people I can see at that moment. And does that make me happy? I'm absolutely in awe, but I feel at one, even though it's the first time I've been there, with the people, the land, and everything else that goes with it. These people, these children, have really very little. As we see in India also, a lot of children and nomadic children have not very much. They have donated clothing, they may have sandals, they may not. They also may have dripping noses, or they may have remnants of ringworm in their head. But they are not poor. They are the richest people because of the happiness that is exuding every single pore of their body. They don't have the Tata Nano, they don't have the Tesla, they don't have the latest gadgets that we have today, the most beautiful iPhone or the iPad or the huge screen TV or the designer clothing or Bollywood, in fact. No, they don't have any of that, but they have an inner happiness. So we're gathered today here, which is a very strange thing, don't you think, that we're talking about happiness. How did we lose it? Where did it go? You know, we're here in a good way to find it and bring it back. I believe that we need to do that by expanding ourselves and unleashing the nomadic mindset which lives with every single person that lives in this room and in this building and everywhere else. We may just have forgotten it, lost it, or got sidetracked, but it lives within all of us, and it's exactly what David is talking about is coming back today. The 21st century organization does not need the same mental state or mindset as a 20th century organization. They will go into the land of the dodo if they do not shift and think about mindset. I'd like to take you on that journey. So that journey starts from one place. But first of all, you may think, well, what was I doing? Why was I there my first time in Kenya? I was doing research for my leadership book called The Nomadic Mindset, Never Settle for Too Long. And so that is, I believe that we've become too narrow and we need to become more expansive, not only as individuals, but as organizations and also geopolitically. As we can see, we are getting very narrow. We need to expand. That is our nature, is expansion. It is not narrow. So, what did I do? I visited a variety of locations in Mongolia and Kenya and also in Morocco. And I learned an awful lot about nomadic culture and rituals, which I was looking for behaviors and qualities and values that we can associate and bring to today. Actually, it's not really bringing, it's really awakening inside of us. So let's go on that journey. You ready to go on a journey? Yes, okay, good. All right. So the first step of this journey is awareness. I want to take you to a path, different paths that can take us there. Awareness. We've all talked about awareness in these few days. And awareness is extremely important. And it is something rare that we have. Have you ever had the experience of where you have felt that you are not very healthy in your body, in your mind, that you are not doing the right job for yourself, you've lost your purpose, that you just feel uncomfortable in what you do? Have you had that experience? Yes. That'll change for me on March 30th, 2017. I am visiting my mentor, Frederick Herron, for the first time. He lives in a beautiful black and white colonial home in Singapore. We're sitting out on the lounge. And I'm visiting him because I'm in search, again, of this wonderful inner theme. My inner theme or my purpose. What do I want to talk about? And I'm lucky because I'm talking about it now. But the question was, he said to me, like a good coach and a mentor and a leader, he said, what is this branding you're talking about as a global nomad? And so I talked to him about, it feels free, I like to go here, there, wherever. It was kind of... it was a spirit which was there, but it wasn't really harnessed in many ways. And then he looked up nomad, and then he talked about that, and then he asked me a variety of more questions and digging and digging and digging and digging and digging. And that's when I got richer and richer and richer, and I felt the light start coming out of me. And that was the most beautiful moment, because he then said, okay, if this is it, what is the book? You need to write a book. And I said, the book? What's the title? I said, it's the Nomadic Mindset. And he said, well, now you have to do research. And I went, oh, research? And he said, yes, you need to speak to at least 100 different executives. And you also need to go and visit 3 different nomadic cultures and tribes around the world. And that's when I started to go, oh, no, this is becoming really a lot of work now. I'm not sure if I really want to do that. However, I dug my heels in and I said, yes. Absolutely, this is where I want to go. I felt something. And so what is that? We feel these things, and we knew what is right for us. And it's about when that purpose fits, it fits so strong. Do you not feel that way? That when you find something, it fits, and you feel like a glove in a clothes. So it's very important that we help ourselves, and we help become the awareness of our other employees and the organization as to what is the true purpose. Why is it going? It's not just the bottom line and the KPIs. It's a house for all sorts of humans to pursue their purpose and their individuality. That will start to bring them happiness and change. All right, path number 2. This is expansion. Expansion. Path number 2 is expansion. October 2017, I am sitting and I find myself in Ulaanbaatar. It is the beginning of winter. The chill is in the air and it's really cold, and I bought some cashmere so that I could be warm. But in that, it was beautiful. I was sitting in a cafe with a young urbanite millennial student of 22 years old. And she's from the National University of Mongolia. And she said to me, I have this longing for the vastness of the Mongolian steppes and the incredible rolling golden dunes of the Gobi Desert. She said, this is where freedom is. This is where you have to be adaptable and flexible and use your agility and to all the different shifts and changes in the environment. This is where that comes to life. And she says, that is independence, but it's the interdependence of all the ecosystem and the environment that brings that all together. That is the strength of the nomad inside of them, which lives in every single one of you. And then she said to me, but I could see in her eyes, first of all, that there was this longing. She thought that she had lost this feeling of being a nomad because of her urbanite life, which we all experience. But then she said something to me. She said to me, Mongolian nomads think vastly, act narrowly. 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 I thought, my God, this is really quite beautiful. So what does that mean? What do you think that means? She said to me, she says, in this vastness of this whole physical body, the mind, is that we see the possibilities. We see all the opportunities. We see the ideas. We see the thoughts. We hear all of the conversations. We bring in the negotiation. We see it all. And then we act fast and narrow and focused. And then we move. There is remember that nomads do not move all the time. They're very strategic. They're very intelligent. And because they only move when they have to move. And so, she said that we have to think vastly and act narrowly because we have to make decisions quickly, because the environment is changing, and we need to go with it. We need to follow it. It doesn't lead us. We follow the environment. We follow the animals. I'm told that in Mongolia, in Kenya, and also in Morocco, I've asked, how do you know when to move? They say, we watch the animals. Very intuitive. So they watch them. I say, how long in advance do you know that you have to move or things are changing? 1 week. I asked in Mongolia, they said 1 week. Kenya, they said 1 week. Berber said 1 week. I wondered why, but I never found an answer for 1 week. But that is thinking vastly and acting narrowly. What do we do as coaches? What do we do as leaders? What do we do as mentors? People come to us in a stuck and locked and sometimes blocked and stressful situation which is narrow. Narrow thinking. And through our smart and intelligent wiseness of questions, we try to hold and pull them out further and further and further to this expansion so they can see the world again. How often do you arrive at work and you just are this way? All I see is the computer. I turn it on, what I have to do, my agenda. You need to go wide first before. What I do with clients, I have them wide and narrow. When I feel that they're this way, I say stand, width. It's a very simple exercise because you begin to feel your breath. You begin to feel your feet in the earth. You begin to feel the tadasana of yoga, of the standing pose. You begin to feel. And that is what we want people to do, and yourself as well, is to feel. This is part of the mindset. The next thing is path number 3, the mind. October 2017, I'm still in Ulaanbaatar. I am at the Blue Sky Lounge. I am sitting around with 2 urbanite Mongolian women. Now, Mongolian women are very strong-willed people and very intelligent, as well as the Indian women that I know are incredibly strong and strong-willed. So it's fantastic. So what is I doing? I'm sitting there, and my Frederick Heron is also there, my mentor. He's doing research on creativity, and I'm doing research on nomadic mindset. And so what happens? We're sitting there, and I ask the conversation. Frederick says to me, talk to Bat Gorel. So Bat Gorel is this woman. She's sitting there. She is just so fantastic. She's sitting there, and she's just sitting very, very strongly. And she's sitting, I can see the robustness in her eyes and the glint in her eyes. And I could feel this deep, sultry voice as she starts to speak. And I ask her the question, what is the true meaning of nomad? And she looks at me. And I'm going to ask you the question now. What do you think is the true meaning of nomad? Please shout it out to me. What do you think it is? Don't be shy. You all have a mouth, and nomads speak. I'm sorry? The ones that are wandering all the time. Keep the word ones and keep the word wandering. Thank you. She said to me as she sat there, she said, most people think that it means to move from place to find new pastures. That's what Wikipedia says. It also says the origin of nomad is nomas. Nomas is a Greek word, and it means to wander or to roam. It also means nomos, which means grazing or pasturing. What are we doing all the time? We are wandering. We are grazing. We are moving. We are finding new pastures to do our work in, to find new clients, new locations. We are wandering. This is nomadic. This is a contemporary nomad. And then, but I see in her eyes, and she says, no, it doesn't mean that. Do you want to know what it means? No? Yes. She says it means the movement of the mind. The movement of the mind, the movement of the mind. So the nomadic mindset is not about just simply moving from place to place. It is the moving from place to place in your mind on an ongoing basis to find new pastures, new ideas, new thoughts, new conversations, new relationships, all sorts of things. This is the movement. Remember something. We are human beings, and we move. There is never a stasis within us. We are moving all the time. The universe is moving. The air is moving. The lights are moving. The molecules are moving. There is no non-movement. And what she said with that was the biggest thing, that the movement is constant. It's like a symphony playing a beautiful classical piece of music. It is, the mind goes from very, very fast and staccato to very gentle and legato. It goes through colors and textures and tempos and dynamics. And that's our mind. Our mind. Our mind. So the movement of the mind, you need to be aware of the movement of the mind and think vastly and act narrowly, and the movement of that mind. Which brings me to minds, the mind. Mindsets. My journey. I first started, as I said, to find out what is the magic, what is the behaviors, what are the values, what are the qualities that represent this typology. And you're already getting an idea of what it means, I'm sure, because it's not difficult to figure it out. And we're all bright people in this room. But you know what? I thought, I went along with for about a month, and I said, no, this is too narrow. I'm thinking too narrowly. It's not just the nomadic mindset. We have another mindset that lives within us all as well. And I thought, what's the opposite? And that is the settler mindset. So we have these two. Now, have you ever had the feeling in your stomach that something's just not right? Something doesn't taste right sometimes. It doesn't feel right. Something's missing. I'm just not settled on all of this. Have you ever had that feeling? Yeah. So I had another meeting with an executive, and he said, there's something wrong here. You need a third. And I said, what's the third? He said, it is the builder mindset. So these mindsets, all three of them, they all live within all of us. They sit inside of us. We have a dominance for one more than another in the way we live, the way we work. All of this, they are dependent on culture, food, they are to age, location, design, any time in our life. All three of these mindsets live within every single one of you. In fact, they may change in a conversation. If somebody is talking in a very sort of nomadic way, that you may start in your mind to start putting some sort of structure to it and some sort of logistics to what is being said, and you feel uncomfortable if you are in a settled position because something is happening. So we have these three. They change. You can also see the evolution of an organization through these. Organizations today that are falling by the wayside and becoming dinosaurs have forgotten to move back into the nomadic thinking as the leadership. Leaderships need to have the right people with the right mindset in the right place at the right time. And that goes for teams and all organizations. It's not about only competency, talent, and skill. Something that just from my history, I come from elite sport, figure skating. Does anybody know what figure skating is in this room? Yes? I come from that. I was a figure skater, and I was an entertainer at some point in my life as well. But I became a figure skating choreographer for national world Olympic champions, as well as a coach, and I also did very large productions and choreographed and directed them. But there was one thing that I noticed, most of all, about elite athletes to become Olympic champions, world champions, and become champions. And I noticed that with all the incredible skill and talent that they practice and practice and practice and practice daily to do whatever they do, there's one thing that gets them to the top. What do you think it is? It's mindset. The mindset. If you can have all the talent and all of the skill and all of the competencies, but if you don't have that drive of the mind to get you there, it's not going to happen. It's not going to happen. The mindset is vital. So I bring that back to us here in this room. And that whole thing is that we need within the organization to have these three mindsets. Let me take you on a slight journey because I want to see if you can identify these three. All right. Imagine there is a desert. There is a desert in Rajasthan, correct? Is that a yes or a no? Yes. Fantastic. So there's a CEO that has an event that's going to happen off into the desert. And in that desert, he says, we cannot get there by traditional Hummer or Jeeps or whichever. We need to go by camel, by elephant. We need to go by donkey. We need to go by horse. We need to go by any of the other modes of transportation. And so he says, I need 3 people to head up my team. 3 strong people. So he chooses 3. He goes to the first one. And the first one says, wow, this is a great project. This project is so rich, and you've done a lot of projects, but this one really, really is amazing. And you know that I've worked for this company for 30 years, and I'm incredibly loyal, and I love the company, and I spend all the time. You know that I've moved from one department to the next, and I have the institutional memory that has been going on through all of the different CEOs and all the different managers. I know what's going on. I believe my place is to stay at home base. And besides that, my family doesn't want me to go to a desert. They are actually afraid that what might happen to me, and I won't be in contact with them in the fullness of that. I need to have this staying where I am. I need to find this balance of being here with them. I will control and be able to manifest this event from here. The CEO says, I do actually need somebody to be there to hold the fort. So this is a great person. He goes to the next person. The next person says, fantastic, this is a great job. I love this job. You know that I have always done this type of job, and I find this is the richness of the place to go is because I know how to drive strategy. I can keep everything under budget, and I'm going to make sure that my teams that are underneath me that work day and afternoon and night until it's done. This is going to be my profession. This is good. I'm very strong and very attuned to understanding what is needed in this vision and following it. The CEO thinks, okay, this is great. This guy really has a God. He's going to be able to structure it. He's going to be able to feel it. He's going to be. But I do have to be careful because of his people skills. Sometimes he can be a little bit rough with those and not understand different personalities. He goes to the third one, and the third one says, the desert. My God, it's like an adventure. This is the best project that you could ever put me on. And I can see the different path roads. I can see the creativity. Once we get there, it's going to be magical under tents and a variety of different aspects that we can use and different water and how we can use and make this beautiful. I will make sure the team really works well and we have this cohesiveness. And we need to take different journeys. We need to be able to find different solutions for different things. I will be able to help this along because I don't have any fear of the desert. Nothing. The change in environment will be fine. I can just move and roll with the punches of that. The CEO says, cool, very cool. I've got 3 great people, and they can all play a role. I would like to show of hands, and I hope I can see. Come down here. The first person, would you say that mindset is nomadic? Is that builder? Is that settler? Yeah. How many yeses do I have? Hands, please. Only 2? 3? It's a yes. Okay. All right. The second person. Is that person dominant mindset? Is it a nomad? Is it a builder? Is it a settler? It is a builder, you're right. Thank you. The third person, then.
The Tibetan lady.
Sorry?
The Tibetan lady.
Yes.
She's moving thoughts.
Absolutely. Moving the thoughts. Absolutely. The third person, is it settler? Builder? Nomad? Hey! Okay. So it's not so difficult. But when we are looking and thinking about organizations and people, we need to think about not just the skill and everything that is within that. We need to think of the mind. We need to think of the mindset. I rarely hear in any sort of HR conference that we're thinking about mindset. Your organizations need mindset to drive the bottom line, to drive efficiency, to drive excellence, to drive happiness. Because you are now fulfilling on what people love and do the best. If you put a nomad in a settler job, do you think you're going to get success? Probably not, because they'll be very unhappy, they will be very unruly, they will be depressed, they will not work. Right? If you put a settler in what is needed for the function of a nomad, would that work? No. But how many times do you think that you put people in the right place? Maybe most of the time, but sometimes not. So think about it. Allow that. So the mindset is extremely important. I leave you today with the understanding the nomadic mindset may be something that is not new, but it lives within every person, within every organization. But because of the history of industrialization, the history of commercialization, politics, we have become settled and builders with the few nomads. We need, in 21st century organizations, to shift that, asking for it to be changed, demanding it to be changed. I do a podcast called The Nomadic Mindset. It just started yesterday or last week, and you're more than welcome to join. It's called The Nomadic Mindset. And I interview a variety of thought leaders around the world around mindset and the organization, different parts of organizations. And you can go there and have a listen. But first of all, I want to ask you one thing, or share with you one thing, and ask you at the same time. Is at the end of my conversations when I was doing the research for my book, I asked all the executives, because they're the ones that actually created the different typologies and the behaviors that go with this. And I asked them, what is the mindset that you need most of in your organization today? What do you think 100% said? Nomadic. So this is something you as HR need to think about. What do we need? All right. I want to wrap this up and share with you that where have we been on this path? This has been, first of all, a journey for me, which is absolutely the most wonderful journey, of which I believe for me is for the rest of my life, and I'm getting older. So it's not as many years as I think, but maybe it is. But the point is that it's given me a real new lease on life, because there's some true essence about humanity here. This is humanity. The basis of our humanity rests in the genetic codes of us, which date back to the history of our nomadic existence. We have learned all these other ones that have come from today, but that's where our origins of humanity have come from. Sure, there's all sorts of other stuff, and wars and different ways of doing things. But the point is that basis. Now, we've been to awareness. So awareness is one of the most important things that you need to do and think about. Expansion. Think vastly. Act narrowly. The movement of the mind. Keep it going. Keep it going. Flowing. Flow. This is flow. This is your mind. All right? Keep it flowing. Keep it like that dance. Music. and the mindsets. The three mindsets are what? Nomadic, builder, settler. Yeah, you got it. Okay, great. My book is available if you wish. I do have a few copies with me, and if you wish, you can talk to me about those. But also, I had said that there is the possibility here of the podcast. Now, the podcast, if you see the link there, is something that I think is important for you, because if you would like a free download of the chapter from my book, which is on the mindsets, please download. The other thing is that I'm doing an assessment, and it's in test drive right now, which is called the Nomadic Mindset Dominance Assessment. And I would like you to, if you are interested, to give me your card, and I will give you a free test drive with it. It's not up completely yet, but if you would like to do that, perfect. The last thing that I want to say is about giving. And what I have learned in this journey is about giving not only to all of you, but the children of the Kenyan, they want to go to school. So I have taken up the task of privately sponsoring children. And one of my children of recent that I just have sponsored, his name is Jeff. And he just started school yesterday, and he's 19, he's in college. He is happier than he can be. He starts his classes tomorrow, and he is just so excited because he could not go because the village didn't have money, and they couldn't kill enough cows for him to go. I killed the cows of my own, and I said, you are the strength of your community. And he is an amazing fellow. And today he's wishing me well. He said that the elders' blessings are with you. And I want to share with you that the elders' blessings are with all of you. And they will take you to where you want to go. The Nomadic Mindset Unleashed. Go for the expansion. Namaste.